Welcome to Dementia-Friendly Prince George's County, Maryland, Northern Sector webinar series for caregivers. Today's topic is Caring for the Caregiver, sponsored by Prince George's County Government and the Department of Family Services.
Alrighty, and without further ado, it is my pleasure to present Miss Gincy Heins.
Thank you so much. Welcome everyone to Family Caregivers Take Care of You. As she said, my name is Gincy Heins. I am a family caregiver, caring both for my husband, well, my father first, and then my husband, who in 2009 was diagnosed with mild cognitive impairment. I recently became an Air Force mom. I am an author. I have co-authored 4 books in the 365 Caregiving Tips series, as well as I am the creator and editor of 2 books in the Before the Diagnosis series. I have been teaching a class called Games for Brains at our local senior center for about 12 years. And I am a senior citizens commissioner in Cypress, California, which is where I am tonight. So here it's only 4 p.m. So in today's discussion, we're going to cover a caregiver self-assessment, what self-care is and is not. We're going to talk about why don't we take better care of ourselves, the price of neglect, the importance of self-care, how to care for yourself, self-care during the holidays, and develop an action plan. I will try not to talk too fast, I promise. So first of all, good for you for coming today. Just doing this and being here, you are doing something for yourself. So just answer these questions for yourself. With a yes or no, do you get 6 hours of uninterrupted sleep most nights? Now, I know some of you are laughing at that. Do you have a period of time alone every day? And sometimes that's debatable even for me when the cat is reaching its paw under the bathroom door. Is there someone you could or would phone if a problem arose anytime, day or night? And sometimes these questions or these answers change. For me, for example, that changed because it used to be my son and now he's in the Air Force, so that kind of takes him out of the equation. Is there someone in your circle of family or friends who would give you a loan of money in case of a financial hardship? Does at least one other person fully understand the day-to-day trials you experience? And do you take regular planned breaks and mini holidays away from caregiving responsibilities? Now, a mini holiday might be getting a cup of coffee with your friend. So for all of those that you answered with no, your goal just over time could be to answer those questions with a yes. Yes, you have someone you can call. And for example, so that's what you want to work towards. I know, one more thing to do, huh? Okay, I love this because when you think about it, it's so true. We operate as if our body's check engine light is on, but we choose to ignore it. I mean, think about that. When that check engine light comes on in the car, do you just keep driving and know that everything's fine? Or do you go, oh my gosh, I have to get into the car place? That's exactly what I say in all honesty. But we see these warnings in our own bodies and we go, yeah, it's fine. I'm going to ignore it. Yeah, it's fine. We need to stop ignoring those signs. So think for yourself, what do you think of when you hear self-care? When I first started as a caregiver, I kept thinking that everybody meant I should go to the spa and get a massage. So let's talk about first what self-care is not or isn't. Self-care isn't selfish, and it's not a luxury. When people view self-care as selfish or a luxury, they don't do it and are left feeling overwhelmed, tired, and ill-equipped to handle life's inevitable challenges. It's not something we force ourselves to do, like that we hate, or something we don't enjoy doing. I mean, like for me, eating liver, that would never be self-care. I don't enjoy liver. So what self-care is? In a big, long explanation, it's any activity we do deliberately in order to take care of our mental, emotional, and physical health. It is vital for building resilience toward those stressors in life you can't eliminate. So it means taking care of yourself so you can be healthy and well, and you can do what you need to, and you can help and care for others, and you can do all the things you want to accomplish. Yeah, I know, it's a pretty tall order. So let's talk about why we may not take care of ourselves. Well, for a lot of us, we feel guilty about doing anything for ourselves or about having someone else help us. Guilt, that gift that keeps on giving. We might feel selfish putting our needs first, but if you don't take care of yourself, you can't possibly take care of anyone else. We think no one else can do the job as well as we can. It's our loved one and it's our job. Nobody else should be doing it. But if we really think of it, are we sure? Because somebody might do the job differently, but they might actually do it just as well, and you might learn some new ideas for how to do something. We have trouble asking for what we need and feel inadequate if we need help. Yeah, I know. We're human if we need help. That's just the way it is. We all need help at times, whether we're a caregiver or not, but it's true, we do have trouble asking for it. So one of the things you can do is make a list of things that need to be done, and you might find ways to share that list with other people. When we don't take care of ourselves, it can lead to caregiver stress, which can lead to burnout, a condition marked by irritability, fatigue, problems with sleep, weight gain, feelings of helplessness or hopelessness, and social isolation. Sounds pretty bad. And as caregivers, you may have experienced one or more of those feelings. And I think also, when you're stressed, that's another way you feel guilt, is because you think, oh, I shouldn't feel this bad. So when we don't take care of ourselves, what happens? Sleep deprivation, because we're not getting enough sleep. Poor eating habits, because let's be honest, when you're supposed to eat something orange, for example, it should be like an orange, carrot, or a sweet potato, not Cheetos or one of those nice little peanut butter cups you have hanging around the house that my neighbor gave me their excess of. Failure to exercise. We just, even minor exercise, we don't do it. We don't take care of ourselves when we're ill. Our emotional and mental health suffers, and we become reclusive. And now they're saying that being reclusive or isolated is as bad for us as smoking. Isn't it amazing how everything is compared to smoking, a habit we know we shouldn't do? I have a friend who is a caregiver for her brother who has epilepsy, and also for her husband. And when his mother was alive, they were also caring for her. I mean, that's a lot of caregiving. And she suffered a stroke in her 50s. Because she wasn't taking care of herself. She had many of the things here with poor eating habits, not exercising, and not taking care of herself. So that is why self-care is not optional. It is mandatory. We have to do it. We just have to sort of define what self-care is, because as I said, it's not always that trip to the spa and that time out for a massage. So we're going to talk about why is self-care important. And these are terrible statistics. 30% of caregivers die first. I mean, that's just awful when you think about it, because somebody has to care for the person you're caring for. And if you as the caregiver die first, holy cow. 40 to 70%, I know it's a big range, but that's what they say. 40 to 70% of caregivers suffer from depression. I didn't put this on the slide, but nearly 60% of Alzheimer's and dementia caregivers rate the emotional stress of caregiving as high or very high. And even though I can't see you, I have a feeling some of you are nodding your heads at that one. It's, our overall health suffers if we don't take care of ourselves. Back to the same, if you don't take care of yourself, who will? And if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anyone else. If you're not well, how can you help someone else? So self-care, what does it do? It helps reduce anxiety and depression. It helps reduce stress and improves our resilience to deal with these unexpected things that come up in life, whether they are our loved one having a blip or a glitch, as I sometimes call it, or the last few years that we've had since 2020 with COVID. Self-care improves our happiness, which is important, which also increases our energy, reduces our burnout, and builds stronger relationships, both with the one we're caring for and with other people. So one of the things is you can do anything. I'm not saying you can't do anything. You can do anything. But the truth is you can't do everything. I mean, when we become a caregiver, our day it might feel like we have a 36-hour day, as to quote the title of the book, but we didn't get another 12 hours in our day to get all those things done. And caregiving is a full-time job, but that doesn't mean we don't do other things. We may work at a full-time job that provides a paycheck. We might volunteer, watch the grandchildren, help others. Plus, you have all the household duties you did before you were a caregiver, in addition to taking over any of the things the person you care for did. And I have to tell you, you can't do it all. I can't do it all. I'm not calling you out. I can't do it all. We actually recently hired a gardener because I just couldn't do it all. And I mean, I'll be honest with you, came with that side helping of guilt because I should be able to do it. So there are different types of self-care. There is physical self-care, social self-care, mental self-care, spiritual self-care, and emotional self-care. And we're just going to go over all of these briefly. So physical self-care, it is nutrition and hydration, sleep, physical activity, and our physical needs. So you need to take care of your body if you want it to run efficiently. If we go back to the analogy of the car, if we don't put gasoline in the car, if we don't put oil in the car, it doesn't run, or it doesn't run as well. And yes, you will still operate on Cheetos and peanut butter cups, but you're sure not gonna operate as well as if you grabbed a banana and peanut butter or cheese, for example. And hydration, holy cow, that water, and good news, I have heard recently that coffee actually does not dehydrate you as much as we've been led to believe. Thank goodness. But hydration is so important for all of us. When we don't, hydrate, whether it's coffee or water, Gatorade, juice, well, not alcohol, but you get the point. We suffer. Our body suffers. Our brain suffers, folks. We don't want our brain suffering. We get headaches. We get crabby. And I'm guessing I'm not just relating my own experiences, that you guys may have experienced some of those things yourself. So keep in mind, there's a strong connection between your body and your mind. When you're caring for your body, you're going to feel better as well. And that's when sleep. Oh, it can be hard to get enough sleep as a caregiver, and we are exhausted a lot of the time. But if any of you had children, when they're babies, one of the cardinal rules you hear, especially when you're a brand new mom, is sleep when the baby sleeps. So if the baby's taking a nap, that's a good time for you to take a nap and not, do the housework. Same thing when you're caring for someone. That is a great time for you to take a nap if you can. Yes, I know there's 100 things you have to do. You have to do laundry, and you have to do the grocery list, and you have to mow the lawn and clean the house and do the dishes, and on and on and on and on. But you know what? You might be more productive if you take a short nap. And think about, like I say, are you eating a mostly healthy diet? Notice I didn't say 100%, I said mostly. You're just going for really good. You're not going for perfection. But are you taking care also of your mental and physical health needs, which includes your health, attending your healthcare appointments, taking medications as prescribed, and managing your health? Are you getting in any exercise? Jumping to conclusions doesn't count, I'm sorry, but taking a walk if you can get your loved one out for a walk. One of my girlfriends, who is not a caregiver, but she just walks around inside her house sometimes when it's too hot where she lives. There's social self-care. Are you getting enough face-to-face time with your friends? Are you getting any? Socialization is a key to self-care, but it's hard to make time for friends when life gets busy and we feel overwhelmed. And we get busy not only with the caregiving, but with all those other responsibilities we talked about, the work, the volunteering, the taking care of the grandkids. Those all take time. What are you doing to nurture your relationships with friends and family? And you're probably thinking, I don't have time. I totally get it. But you know what? A quick text, send an emoji, send, there are people we love and care about, and we still want them in our lives, even though we really may not have the time for them right now. But if you can sometimes send a quick text or reply to theirs, it does, if you send it at 2 in the morning, hopefully their phone's not on, but that's their choice if it is. Or you can send an email, and that you can do anytime, day or night, a quick one. Sometimes my emails are, hey, I want to say hi, and that's it. Mental self-care. Are you making enough time for activities that mentally stimulate you? And, maybe you and your loved one enjoy watching, or your loved one enjoys watching Jeopardy or Wheel of Fortune. Hey, sit down with them and watch it and try to solve the puzzle. I will give you a clue. I've discovered the celebrity Jeopardy questions are way easier than the regular ones. Now I just have to find out how to become a celebrity so I can go on that version, because I sure can't go on the common person Jeopardy. But mental self-care includes those things that keep your mind sharp, like puzzles or learning about a subject that fascinates you. You might find that reading books or watching movies that inspire you fuels your mind. And are you doing proactive things to help you stay mentally healthy? And because mental self-care also involves doing things that help you stay mentally healthy, like practicing self-compassion and acceptance, because those things help you maintain a healthier inner dialogue. While we're on it, mental health has become such an important topic that we all hear about now. I mean, I'm in my early 60s, and let's face it, you never heard about mental health, and you never said that you had an issue when I was, 50 years younger. There was no such thing as mental health. And now there is no shame in getting mental health help. There we go. And I hope you're all chuckling when I make these mistakes. It's okay. Since I can't hear you, I just have to pretend you are. But, the good news is we are of an age, I'm going to say, that we understand we don't have to live our lives on social media. So if you get mental health help, that's harder to say than you think, by the way. You don't have to post it on social media for everyone to know. You're doing it for yourself. Spiritual self-care. Engage in practices you find fulfilling, such as prayer, attending a religious service, meditation, spending time in nature. You can pray anywhere, anytime. With the internet, you can attend a religious service online if you can't attend in person, and that's fantastic. A lot of times you can even just listen in, or you can watch it after the fact. You don't have to just watch it at a certain time for it to be helpful to you. You can meditate. Some people find that really fabulous. There are lots of apps that can help you do it, and you can follow along on a YouTube video. And spending time in nature. Now, that can be harder depending on whether you live in Arizona and it's the summer and 120 degrees out, or whether you're in the East Coast and it's 30 below. Does it get to be 30 below there? I don't know. But anyway, you get the point. I'm in California, like I said. Emotional self-care. Do you have healthy ways to process your emotions? It's important to have healthy coping skills to deal with uncomfortable emotions like anger, anxiety, and sadness. And emotional self-care may incorporate activities that help you acknowledge and express your feelings regularly and safely. Do you incorporate activities into your life that help you feel recharged? Again, as a caregiver, I know our time and resources are very limited, but you can still find ways, hopefully. Like for me, a few years ago, I realized I love to read, but I just wasn't making the time to do it. And so I set an alarm that goes off on my phone every day at 2:30, and it just says, take a break. And sometimes I read, sometimes I fall asleep reading, and sometimes I don't. I do something that needs to be done instead. But I know that I have that option to take that break and that reminder. And I have found that if I don't take it for several days, I don't do as well. I'm grumpy and I'm off kilter, and I don't always know why. But here's what I have to say about self-care. The best self-care idea is something you enjoy and will do. I also feel that way about exercise. If it's, I could tell you running is the best thing since sliced bread. And if you hate running, kind of like I hate that liver, remember, you're not going to do it, or you might do it, but you're not going to stick with it. So find something you enjoy and try to stick with it and incorporate that as a self-care technique for yourself. So we're going to talk about what are ways you can take care of yourself. As caregivers, you're living in the trenches. So you can think about what are things you do to care for yourself. What could you do that you're not doing? And you can even think about what works for you that you would suggest to someone else. One thing you can do is you can create a list of things people can do to help you and refer to it. You know, when they say, how can I help you? What can I do for you? Going back several slides, remember the right answer is not to say, oh, no, I can handle it all myself. The right answer is to be able to give them something to do because it's going to help you. But when you're caught off guard, it's really hard to come up with that answer. So think about it in advance. You can come up with some ideas that cost money. For example, hey, can you bring me dinner? You can also come up with some ideas that just cost you time, like they could run errands, they could go grocery shopping with your list and your money, they can go to the library or the dry cleaners, they could keep you company, they could sit with your loved one while you step out and enjoy nature. They could bring or take you out for a cup of coffee or lunch, or they could go out for a walk with you, for example. Maybe they can walk your dog, mow your yard. What I wouldn't have given for someone to offer to mow my yard. And if somebody doesn't ask, it's really hard to say to somebody, will you do it? Which is why we now have that gardener. If you have a friend who's really good at organizing people, ask them to handle this for you. Give them the list of things that could be done and just refer everybody to that organized friend when they ask. You know, the most beneficial thing you can do, though, like I say, is make a list of things that would help you. So maybe something that would help you is they can call you at a specific day and time each week and just check up on you. Or you can tell somebody, hey, can you send me a card once a month to make me laugh? Can you share something funny with me once a day? You know, people, when they're asking, they generally want to help. And just think, you can give them things that are going to help you. Okay? So right here, here's some things, some self-care ideas. Ask for help. Not only say, you know, when they offer, but when they, you know, but that is part of it. When someone says, is there something I can do to help you? Say yes. But also you can say no to things you don't want to do. No is a complete sentence. So when somebody says, oh, we need you to come to this event, you always, you know, came in the past and you brought that wonderful, complicated baked potato casserole. Will you do it for us? No is a complete sentence. It's okay to say no. And say yes to those things you want to say yes to. I mean, yeah, there's things we have to say yes to in life, like paying the taxes that we don't necessarily want to do, but there's plenty of things you can say yes to. Like if somebody says, hey, you know, do you want to, well, my brother recently wanted me to watch his cat. Now, he lives 45 minutes south of me, and this is Southern California, so on a good day, it would be 45 minutes. And I said yes. And I'm sort of hanging my head in shame because I immediately regretted it. And after stewing and getting angry for a few days, I sent him an email and said, I just can't. You know, I could come once, but I can't come every 3 days for 3 weeks. That just isn't going to happen. And he didn't reply to the email, and I didn't bring it up. And after a few weeks, he said, but I did also gave him a list of resources. You could take your cat to this pet hotel. You can use this service to find a pet sitter. You could ask for your wife's relatives or friends. And so after a few weeks, he sent an email and said, oh, we got a pet sitter. And the only thing he asked this time is, will you be the backup emergency contact? We already have one, but they're not going to be there the first week. And I was like, that I can do. So that was something I wanted to do. But yes, I did say yes initially, changed it to a no. It's okay to change your mind as well. Here's some other things. You can journal. I'm a terrible journaler, but other people are great journalers and find that it really helps them. You can pray. You can watch a fun movie or a favorite movie or a favorite TV show. I don't know about you, but for me, some TV shows are like the equivalent of comfort food without the calories. Watching Murder, She Wrote is like really a comfort to me sometimes because it was a show my mom and I used to enjoy watching together. For me, as I said, reading. For some people, it's playing an instrument. So there's, you know, you can write poetry, pet an animal. You know, you can pet your neighbor's dog or cat if they'll let you, meaning the animal and the neighbor. You can garden. I love pulling the big weeds, not the little weeds, but the big ones. It's very self-satisfying. It's very satisfying to pull that big weed out. Bake. It's fun to bake because, like, my husband and I don't want to eat a lot of the baked goods, but then I can give them to somebody else and they appreciate it. So do crafts, be creative, do photography, sing, dance, especially if no one's watching or listening. Get together with friends, go for a walk, go people watching, go window shopping, go window shopping and people watching at the same time, do a jigsaw puzzle. There are a lot of self-care ideas that aren't going to cost you money. They're just going to be something, and maybe you say, oh, I think I'll try gardening. And then you discover, I hate gardening. Then don't. Move on to something else. Here's a self-care idea for you. Forgive yourself. We all make mistakes. We don't want to, but we all make mistakes. You can't move forward if you don't forgive yourself, and we all need to be patient with ourselves. But if we're mired in guilt and telling ourselves we're a horrible person, I've been there, that you should have known or should have done better, you're going to have a hard time getting past that. I think we've all heard that expression about don't should on yourself. You can only do the best you can with the resources and information you have at the time. We can remind ourselves like that. We can't time travel and say, oh my gosh, now I know what I should have done 2 weeks ago. Here are some of my recent mess ups, and they're not even related to caregiving. I missed completely paying our homeowner's insurance, insisted we'd never gotten the bill when I was told, well, you missed your window of opportunity to pay, you've got to do it now. Quickly, I went online and paid it, which was great. I rectified the problem, and a week and a half later found the bill on my desk that had been there since August, and I'd even written a note on it that it was due in October. Oh, then there was the day that the freezer was all weird. Everything in it looked like it had been in a snowstorm. Guess what? Apparently I'd left the freezer open at some point in time. Problem resolved. We came back from a vacation recently. My jewelry was nowhere to be seen. I was rather certain it came back with us, but I couldn't find it. My husband used his powers of, solving mysteries and thought maybe the cat had knocked it off the dresser or someplace else. And guess what? He found it on the floor between a couple of other things. Okay, but you have to forgive yourself. Don't beat yourself up. And on that, would you talk to yourself the way or would you talk to a friend the way you talk to yourselves? Sometimes we're really harsh on ourselves, and we say mean things, or at least I do to ourselves, but oh, you're dumb and you're stupid. And I would think about that. I was at the airport at Montgomery, Alabama, and I had messed up. I'd made a mistake on my husband's airline ticket, and because of that, he didn't have his TSA pre-check on there. So I was picking somebody up at the airport before I had to leave we had to leave on our next flight. And I walked up to the person, and I wasn't trying to be mean to myself, but I said, oh, I'm an idiot. I made a mistake. And one of the people working at the counter says, don't talk to yourself that way. You should never say those terrible things to yourself. It's okay. We all make mistakes, but you shouldn't call yourself names. And she was right, but I was so startled I didn't even know what to say. So here I want you to know you are doing things right. I don't even know you personally, and I know you're doing things right. But the important thing is that you need to remind yourself that you're doing things right, because we tend to beat ourselves up. For example, when my father was living with us, oh my gosh, I went to bed every night and I felt like a failure. We had my father, and my mom had just passed away, 2 months before. There's my husband who was working full time, our son who was in elementary school. And I just felt like I couldn't please anyone. Forget everyone, I couldn't please anyone. And then so I would go to bed at night feeling like a failure. And then someone suggested this to me, to write down one thing each day that I was doing right or that I had succeeded at that day. Maybe it wasn't a big deal. I got dinner on the table. And I could start to realize, well, I got dinner on the table. We all made it to bedtime that day, and we were all still healthy and alive. And that was fantastic. Nobody had gotten hurt. Our son had gotten to school. He'd gotten to his after school activities. My father, didn't complain that I was serving dinner too late. I didn't have dinner at the time he liked to eat it. And so remind yourself you're doing things right. And a great way to do that is just to make a note on your calendar. Think about what's important to you in life and try to make it fit your schedule. Schedule a break. You can use my idea to set a reminder on your phone. You can also, when you're thinking, but I don't have a chance to do these things right now, make a list of things you want to do or try someday. The sad reality is that we're not going to be caregivers forever, or maybe, it's kind of good, bad news. And so you will have time again someday to do these things. So make a list of those things you want to try, or because I don't know if you're like me, but I forget about them. Try to see if you can find joy in every day, and try to find one thing positive. This is talking about making that note. Maybe it's that your loved one had a good day. Maybe it's you only had to reheat your coffee in the microwave 3 times instead of 4 or 5. And maybe it's that you relaxed for a few minutes, but it's something that brought you joy. Maybe the flower that you liked was blooming and looked pretty because it was pink. Maybe that's you were able to come here and sit through this and think, you're not nearly as silly as I am. But try to do something every day that warms your heart. Thinking about if you feel like you're stuck in a rut, did you know there's over 250,000 podcasts out there with over 8 million episodes available? So there's something for everyone. You can listen to a topic on anything. You can listen to something that'll make you laugh or cry or educate you. You can download audiobooks and music for free from your library. Listen to music you enjoy. It helps uplift you. Create your own playlist to pump you up or calm you down. Sing and dance along to music. When you need help, get help. Attend a support group. I do, and I have for years. Call a helpline. Been there, done that. Talk to a professional. Yep, you're looking at, I do that too. And use an app to help you sleep, meditate, or for therapy. Due to everything we went through with COVID, more things are virtual, so you might even be able to take a class, attend a support group meeting, or even see a doctor without leaving your health or your house. And like I said, those apps can be really helpful. But take a break also from information overload. I don't know about you, but I totally get overloaded with information or the computer. I try to keep my computer off one day a week. And I'll flip through my emails on my phone, but some of them are too complicated to answer on the phone. But try to take a break from the information overload and don't feel guilty about it. Or make a rule that you're only going to read articles on your desktop or laptop, not your phone. And that's a way to take a break as well. Make your own do-overs. If the day didn't start out right, for example, you lost your patience or things are not going your way, call a do-over and do just that. Give yourself permission to start anew. Many times when I was in my early caregiving days with my husband, I would, oh my gosh, I was so, well, let's see. I would, be short with him and I would feel so bad about it and I would apologize and he'd say, well, what did you do? And I'd say, oh, I'm not going to tell you. Because if he didn't remember, I didn't have to tell him. Try to maintain your social connections. As we talked about, it's not easy, but you can send a text or an email any time of day or night. Respond to messages you get from others. Oh, I don't do it promptly. Don't fool yourself. If you email me socially, you're going to hear from me. But it might be even a month later, but I will reply to you. If you tell me it's important, I will reply sooner. When you meet someone you like in a support group, for example, exchange contact information so you can stay in touch. My husband and I were recently in Alabama for our son's graduation from Air Force Officer Training School. And there was a woman I talked to the first day we were there and then spent a long time chatting with her the second. And then we went our separate ways. And I thought, oh man, if I see her again, I'm going to give her my phone number. I felt like a little kid. I'm going to give her my phone number. Maybe we can be friends. And that night when we went to dinner, we walked right past this woman and her husband and her son and daughter. And I was like, oh my gosh, I want to give you my phone number. I told myself I would do it if I ran into you. And I scribbled down my phone number and we've been texting. And the funny part was my son looks at me and he goes, how do you know that guy's parents? That's a friend of mine. And their son was one of the friends our son had made during officer training school. So we're not in touch a lot, but we text every so often. Recharge your own batteries. I hope you're catching, like a theme here about taking care of yourself. How are you going to recharge those batteries? Drink water, hydrate. Remember that part? There's all these things you can buy in the grocery store. I call it squirty stuff. They're usually by the juices, and it's just a flavoring that you can squirt into your water, and it makes it so much more palatable if you're sick of water. Give that a try. Go to bed early, especially if you're tired, if your loved one is asleep out in bed and they're safe. Go to bed when you're tired. Take a nap. Take a bubble bath. Unless you hate them, then don't. Talk to a friend. Spend time alone. Journal if it's your thing. Give it a try if you're not sure. But take care of your body. It's the only place you have to live. That's kind of a sobering idea when you really see and hear it. But it is true. And some ways you can do that. Make those doctor's appointments for yourself and follow through. Drink water. Eat healthy food, sleep, exercise, brush your teeth. Keep yourself healthy through brushing your teeth. And I know this one seems like a funny one, and you're going to think, what is this woman saying? But go to the bathroom when you need to, because I bet you guys have done like I do, where you're like, oh, I have to go to the bathroom, but I have to do these other 15 things first. No, when you have that urge, go to the bathroom, just go and use it. Take care of your needs. This is part of taking care of yourself. Accept the compliments. People are going to say, oh, you're doing a great job. What do we say? No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Just say thank you. You deserve the compliments you get. And remember that you are not alone in this caregiving experience because it can feel so isolating. But the truth is, it's like we're all in different boats, but in the same ocean. And we're in the caregiving ocean. We each have our own little boat, so you can see other people there and realize you are not alone. Even being here tonight, you're not the only one. Whoever you are not the only one. So let's talk briefly about self-care during the holidays because we've hit the holiday season. Halloween has happened. Thanksgiving is on the horizon. Oh my stars, I'm looking at the calendar 3 weeks from today. 3 weeks from today. And then the December hits and it's just holiday central. So during the holidays, carve out time for yourself. And I'm talking about even if you're going to visit family or family's coming to visit you, we love getting together with family and friends over the holidays. And we may be staying with others or they might be staying with us, but as much as we love that, it can get to be too much. So carve out time during that stay. Say, you know what, I'm going to go in my room and read for a little bit. I'm going to step outside. Suggest to your friends that you get together in January or February instead of December. December's, yes, it's 31 days, but there's a very little time to get together with all these people who want to get together with you. And wouldn't it be more fun to spread out the joy and have some fun in December or January and February? Kind of with that carving out time for yourself, try to spend some one-on-one time with family members. If you have grandchildren, you'll develop so much of a better relationship with them if you have some time alone with them, right? So what about, hey, let's go out for a walk? That can work with anyone you're visiting or who's visiting you. Let's go out for a walk. Let's watch a movie together. Let's bake. Let's just spend one-on-one time with somebody. Because when you're with the whole group, I don't know about you, but sometimes when we've had Thanksgiving and there's 15 people at the end of the time, I feel like I didn't get time with anyone. And remember that everyone doesn't have to do everything together. You don't all have to go to the tree lighting ceremony or all go to Christmas shop together or holiday shopping or a service. It's okay. And it's okay to cut down or cut back on what you do. For example, holiday cards. How many do you send? I don't even want to tell you how many I send a ton. But what if I sent less? Most of the people, I doubt most of them would care. And today I was saying, maybe I'll actually wait and send them in January and intentionally make them Happy New Year cards. What if you cut down on your baking? How many different types of things do you bake? 2? Awesome, that's great. Are you more like me? A whole bunch? Maybe you make, I'm not saying I do, 10 different kinds of cookies and cakes and breads. Cut it back, no one's gonna complain. Maybe cut back on exchanging gifts. Now, time to bring that up is not mid-December. Maybe it's now and say, let's not exchange gifts this year. Let's just spend some time together instead. And wrapping paper, using gift bags is so much easier, isn't it? Buy some gift bags, throw in some tissue paper, gift is wrapped. And don't worry about wrapping them beautifully in wrapping paper. And by the way, your 99-cent store or Dollar Tree, you can get inexpensive gift bags, but now is the time to do it. So one of the suggestions I have is to develop your own self-care action plan. You don't need to share it with anybody, but you could just think about these things. One small change you can make today that is just for you would be what? Think about that. Maybe you can set that timer on your phone, drink some more water, go to the bathroom when you feel the need. But 2 steps you're going to take in the next month to simplify your schedule or add joy to your life. You're probably thinking, two, I can't take 2. Sure you can. Could you sit down for, make it small, 1 minute? Nobody's asking you to take an hour, but can you take 5 minutes during your day? Can you take 5 times 1 minute at a time to just be quiet and decompress? You can even set that timer on your phone if you're worried you're going to spend more than a minute or fall asleep. Or maybe you can, like your favorite thing is a certain kind of candy in the store. You can, I know this isn't the healthy part, it's the mostly healthy part. You can buy that piece of candy and enjoy it. I mean, that's kind of fun to do as well. So I want to say, yay, you. Give yourself a round of applause for coming today because you have taken the very first steps in taking care of yourself. Or maybe you are, supporting yourself and your ideas that taking care of yourself is the right thing to do. And I want to assure you it is. There's nothing more important than taking care of yourself, because if you don't, you can't take care of anything else. So I'm going to close by sharing my information with you. And there's a couple websites I'll give you. This one is 365caregivingtips.com, where you will find these 4 books in the 365 Caregiving Tips series. Practical Tips from Everyday Caregivers, which is our first book and is general and has a lot of different tips, which is also available in Spanish. Our Travel and Respite book, also available in Spanish, which is fantastic if you're taking that trip and you're going elsewhere at the holidays. These are also available as ebooks as well. So hospitals, care facilities, and hospice. This is the book, you don't want to have to need this book, but there are times when we do, and it is so helpful. And look at this one. We did a whole book on caring for yourself, and I'm really proud to say it came out actually during 2020, during COVID. And it is so important. That never goes away, the need to do that, even if you're not a caregiver. And you can also find me on my website, gincyheins.com. You can connect with me there. You can find all the books there. You can find Before the Diagnosis, which is stories of life and love before dementia. And it was followed up this year by Before the Diagnosis, more stories of life and love before dementia. You can see I'm very creative at naming books. But these books, so often when a person receives that dementia diagnosis, I think life turns around and it's focusing on that, on who they are now. But the truth is, they are somebody beyond that. They have this fantastic life before that diagnosis, but so often doctors only see who they are today. And so these books were to tell about the people and who they are, more of who they are than just what we see in them today. This slide, it was kind of hard to fit all the books in a picture, but here are all the books. You can see what the Caregiving Tips books look like. One of the 5 authors is artistic. And then there's the Before the Diagnosis. The pink one is the first one, and it was actually a sunset on our street. And the last one, which is the most current book, The More Stories of Life and Love. And an artist and author named Adam, he drew this picture of his father, and he also wrote an essay about his father in the book. So on my final slide, I just want to say I give you permission to take care of you. And I want to say thank you so much for having me here today, and to thank all of you for coming today. I really appreciate it.